Hey everyone, welcome back. Oh, okay. Is it recording? Yeah, it's recording. Alright. Yeah, we're good. Alright, welcome back. Welcome to our podcast, First Timers. I'm Santhosh.
I'm Rudra. Man, I'm still half asleep today. I was up until 2 a.m. rewatching parts of Purple Rain.
Man, I can tell you got that like tired looking, I need more coffee looking face. How many cups have you had, dude?
I guess 3, no, wait, 4 I believe. Yeah, don't judge me, man.
I won't judge you. This is a no judgment zone. You know, I literally had Prince songs playing in my dreams the other night. I can't even lie. Yeah.
Speaking of which, oh wait, we should probably tell people what we are talking about today.
Yeah, that definitely might help. So today we're going to be diving into Purple Rain, which honestly wasn't even our original plan for this week.
Right. We actually stumbled upon this topic, remember, when we watched it last month, thinking it would be similar to that Indian film Rockstar?
Oh yeah, I was like, this is going to be like another musician's rise from like the ashes, or like rise to fame type of story.
Yeah.
But then it took this weird turn where it felt like, I don't know, like raw and like really emotional.
Exactly, when we started noticing how much it seemed like it lifted from Prince's actual life and then twisted and dramatized it's a really interesting movie.
Yeah, and isn't that when like you like went down this rabbit hole and like found out about like this whole new topic called autofiction?
Yeah, you know me well, man.
Yeah.
3 days of research later, here we are again. It was fascinating not to share the way Prince reveals himself while hiding behind the character of the kid.
That's really genius. So I guess that's our topic today, huh? We have to talk about Purple Rain, and we're going to be talking about Purple Rain. And we're not going to be just talking about the music, not the style, but the whole concept of autofiction. Alright, so who is Prince? Prince is a really, really influential 80s rock star, and he was really famous, and he had really cool hits like Purple Rain, When Doves Cry. And if you don't know those songs, I definitely recommend checking those out because, oh man, those are really good songs. And Purple Rain. So Purple Rain was directed by Albert Magnoli, but Prince essentially served as a background director, and he had like a huge influence in what scenes were directed in the movie and what was happening in the movie. And so it was almost like autobiographical, while also there were some fictional elements.
Autofiction. What exactly is autofiction? I mean, it sounds like a blend between autobiography and fiction, right?
Yeah, I mean, autofiction is when like an artist like blends their real life with fiction. You take like real experiences, but you reframe and like kind of exaggerate them in like a creative way to like create a story. And that's exactly what Prince does in his film, The Purple Rain.
Sounds like there could be many definitions to autofiction.
Yeah.
But the one we are going to talk about in this podcast is from a French author named Serge Dabrowski. He's the one who coined the term.
Right, Dabrowski came up with the term autofiction to describe a genre where like the boundaries between autobiography and fiction are blurred.
So according to him, what does autofiction actually mean?
Well, he says that the self is both the subject and the object of the narrative.
That's a bit vague, don't you think?
Yeah, well, let's see. Autofiction is basically the person telling the story in which they're both the focus of the story and the one telling it. It's like a narrative about themselves, but it's told in somewhat like a creative way.
Oh, so they're writing about themselves, but they're also not writing about themselves. That's a bit weird, right?
Yeah, kinda. It's like a hybrid of reality and fiction, which is what makes it so powerful. It feels personal, but also like universal, where like everyone can relate to it somehow. And that's exactly what like Prince does in Purple Rain. He uses autofiction to tell a story in a way that wasn't just about him, but about all the artists that were involved.
Got it. So it's not like a typical autobiography, it's flexible.
Yeah, pretty much. So the audience gets to like relate to the emotions, even if the details in the movie aren't all true. and we also get like a scope about the artist's real, like their real life experiences and what they might have dealt with.
Interesting. So it's a combination of fact and imagination that creates a deeper connection with the audience.
Exactly. It's the emotional truth that counts, and that's what makes it so powerful. It's personal.
Speaking of blending fact and fiction, let's talk about the kid from Purple Rain. I mean, he sounds like Prince's alter ego, don't you think so?
Yeah, I mean, the kid isn't exactly like Prince, but man, there's so much about the kid that feels like Prince's life. Like, he's got this rebellious spirit, the same artistic ambition, and yeah, he also like portrays his like inner demons, struggles, and man, there's like so many similarities between the kid and Prince.
So basically, Prince uses the title The Kid to tell his own story, but in a creative way, so that he gets freedom.
Exactly. The kid represents Prince's struggle with his like destiny, his relationships, and like his rise to the fame. But obviously, it's kind of fictionalized, right? It's still Prince, but it's like in a different form.
Okay, so that brings a topic to my mind once. It starts with an O. Onomastic links. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, definitely, man. Onomastic links. What a coincidence. It's a convention of autofiction. Like we've been talking about so far.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, like the kid who resembles Prince
Yeah.
is not like an onomastic link presented in this movie.
No, it's not, because what an onomastic link is basically, it's a feature in autofiction where the real life character uses their name, their real name, in the work that they're doing. But that's not the case here, because Prince, his name is not being used. It's instead Kid. But there are other characters in the movie who use their real name, and it's also seen in the movies.
Right. So like take for example Morris Day who is played by Morris himself, then Jerome Benton who is played by Jerome, or Apollonia who is played by Apollonia herself.
Yeah.
All these characters in Time and the Revelation Band, they all keep their real names.
Yeah, and you can see this in the end credit scene.
Right. So let's keep things distant. Do you think like the name Kid, what do you think it resembles?
I think it resembles like youth and like rebellion, like kid. Like it sounds like you're rebellious, right? Like it's not quite like a prince, but it kind of like connects to this idea of someone who's like young, willing to explore stuff, striving to do something great, you know?
Yeah.
It like symbolizes like the beginning of something, like the start of something. Yeah.
It's almost like Prince was saying, here's part of me, but not entirely. Interpret it as you wish.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it almost sounds like this story is like a fictionalized autobiographical version of like the beginnings of Prince's origin, right?
And if
It's like, I don't know, it's like a product of his environment and like an artist, like the kid. It's like almost cool, and like it's showing like the vulnerable sides of the kid. He's not like a legend yet, but like he's figuring himself out. Yeah.
And I believe onomastic links is a key aspect of autofiction. It allows for the artist to shape their own myth while maintaining some level of ambiguity. By naming himself the Kid, Prince turns himself into a symbol of an artistic struggle.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like he's both revealing himself and hiding himself in somewhat a way, both at the same time, like simultaneously. And in a way, this gets the audience to like project their own experiences onto Kid, like have them like relate to these experiences with Kid. And in the movie, he's not just Prince. He's like every young artist trying to make it from the bottom, struggling with their personal conflicts. And yeah.
So basically, the Kid we're talking about isn't just like a placeholder.
Yeah.
He's a statement
Obviously.
which tells us that it's a story about growth and self-discovery.
Yeah. And like I was mentioning, it's like almost relating to like every young artist, and that's where the universal truth, it's like a part of autofiction that comes again, you know? And ultimately, that's what makes Purple Rain so compelling. It's personal, but not fully autobiographical. It's Prince's truth, truth to a certain degree, but it's reshaped through fiction. You know, I keep saying that there are like so many autobiographical components to Purple Rain, right? But let's get into some of these real events that we keep seeing, or like somewhat real events that are like fictionalized in the movie.
Purple Rain, I believe, has some real events attached to it. I mean, like, take for example the kid's story, how his father is a bit abusive towards him, or his mother. But in fact, this feels like one of the personal elements in the movie.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not like clear as to whether Prince's father was as abusive as it's seen in Purple Rain. Obviously, I believe it's more dramatized. But I think what's definitely clear is the fact that Prince had a troubling childhood growing up and making it into fame. And I don't think he had much support in his musical career. And this is obviously seen in Purple Rain, where again the kid's father is repetitively like abusive towards kid's mother, and you know, this kind of again mirrors the reality of like Prince's life.
You know what? Kid's anger towards father is like some personal grudge. It's not like it's some fictional storyline. It's reflecting how it's his own unresolved feelings. Like when he stands up to his father and plays Purple Rain, it's a symbol. Like it's a symbol of reconciliation, my bad. Not just for the kid, but for Prince itself.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, the scene where like the kid stands up to his father and plays Purple Rain is like deeply emotional, you know? It's Prince's way of like patching up with his past, expressing his pain and like moving forward. And like he does this when Prince's father is in the hospital, so like he's going through a lot of stuff at that time, and like it's like this moment of like emotional release and like anger, sadness, and just like all his emotions are being vented out, and like he's expressing it through Purple Rain.
The father-son dynamic shown in this movie is a bit exaggerated, so that people don't get bored, and it's a bit dramatized. But I believe like it's not just about the factual truth, but the emotional truth that's displayed in the movie.
Definitely, and that's what like captivates the audience. So we've been talking about real events so far, right? I'd just like to sidetrack and bring up the fact that, as Dabrowski mentions, it's also another convention of autofiction. He explicitly states that real events, a commitment to narrating all the events that can be considered real. So now let's talk about the relationship between the kid and Apollonia.
I mean, yes, it's a bigger part of Purple Rain. I mean, the kid's romantic intents with Apollonia can be seen as an interesting part of the relationship, as I believe is fictionalized.
Yeah, of course.
There's no actual evidence that Prince had a relationship with Apollonia in real life.
Right, yeah, and Apollonia's character is also played by Apollonia Cotero, which again, like, refers back to the onomastic link which we've been talking about. So, and their dynamic is pretty central to the movie. You know, as we see in the movie, there are like many scenes, and like it's quite obvious that they share like an intense dramatic relationship, and it's filled with like longing, betrayal, and like true passion for love. But the truth is that this romance is obviously fictional creation, something that adds drama to the narrative, because in real life, Prince is not, you know, it's not like, it's not stated anywhere that he's had like a relationship with Apollonia. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, the romantic conflict adds tension to the story.
Definitely.
And it's important to note that, as you mentioned, that it's not evident that in real life, and I mean, it's a classic autofictional technique where the artist uses fictionalized relationship to explore deeper emotional themes like love, vulnerability, and power dynamics.
Of course, yeah, and again, I feel like this is what adds to the layers of Purple Rain and makes it like a complex and cool story, you know? And the relationship between the kid and Apollonia is filled with like conflict, yet also reflects like Prince's own internal struggles with like, you know, intimacy, control, love, and just like self-expression in general, right?
Yeah.
I feel like it's not about truth in a literal sense, but it's morally about like exploring true feelings and like going through the conflicts and struggles that, you know, I feel like everyone resonates with.
Just to add on, I believe the director used Apollonia as a symbol of love in the movie.
Definitely.
I mean, he wanted to highlight that Prince had a relationship in real life, but as seen in the movie, it was fictionalized and dramatized. I mean, to add a convention of autofiction in the movie.
Yeah, and again, it reflects back to autofiction because, like you said, obviously Prince didn't have a true relationship. I mean, like a real life relationship with Apollonia. It was more so like all his relationships combined into the character of Apollonia, which is fictional again.
Yeah.
So Rudra, just a side track. Have you had like any Apollonia in your life?
I wish, man, but unfortunately, no, man.
Ooh. That's all good. I mean, you'll eventually find your Apollonia. I believe in you, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One day.
You know, Rudra, I'm forgetting something.
I mean, are we? I don't think so.
Are you sure? Think about it.
Wait. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I'm thinking that too.
Yeah, I mean.
It's the rivalry with Morris. Yeah. So, obviously, the flashy, confident Morris is like a foil to like the kid's more tortured, artistic soul, right? Like the conflict in a way like mirrors real life tensions of Prince too.
Absolutely. In real life, Prince and Morris had a complex relationship.
Yeah.
Their rivalry in Purple Rain isn't just dramatic, but it's reality.
True, for sure. Yeah.
It's just that Morris Day's character is like a flamboyant, charismatic, and focused on entertaining the crowd. He represents everything the kid resists becoming.
Yeah.
Yet it conflicts with Prince's own internal conflict, like with his integrity and audience connection.
Of course, yeah. And I feel like in Purple Rain, Morris Day more embodies like the commercial side of music, like you were mentioning, and it's morely like mainstream success and like just the cloud pleasing type of performances. While in contrast, the kid represents the more deeper artistic struggle you see an amateur artist growing up having more, you know. And while the film does portray their relationship as like animosity, the reality I feel like is more, you know, different. And I feel like Prince was actually like a mastermind behind the time, like writing many of their songs. And I'm pretty sure Morris and Prince had a more creative and collaborative relationship in real life.
That's where the autofictional part comes in.
Definitely.
I mean, the film amplifies real tensions into a full-blown rivalry that serves as a metaphor for broader struggle between artistic and commercial success. I mean, Morris isn't just a villain, he is a mirror for kids' insecurities and catalyst to grow, with his antics providing balance to kids' intensity.
Yeah. And I feel like this duality is something that like Prince himself like embodies, right? He was like a serious artist, but he also knew how to entertain the crowd, like. And I feel like the rivalry between Morris and Prince also captures the tension between like pure art and like entertaining the crowd, which shows that, you know, they're in like something that's mutually exclusive. But by the end, it's obvious that the kid embraces both sides of himself, and you know, he truly finds who he is and what he wants.
Yeah.
Just as Prince does.
I mean, it's a like testament,
For
like
sure.
to the film's autofictional approach. It reshapes the real life dynamics into a narrative that feels both personal and universal.
Of course.
The rivalry resonates with anyone who struggled to balance their creative vision with commercial demands.
For sure, yeah. And you know, I feel like that's what Purple Rain shows. And it's not just about the Prince or the kid, it's about the creative process, like the pressures of having success in life and staying true to yourself and your values. And I feel like the rivalry with Morris is central to that story and is one reason why the film is so successful. Yeah.
What's your favorite song from the movie?
You know, I think it has to be Purple Rain.
Why?
It was a really like good ending song. I feel like it truly like portrays how Prince was feeling, and I don't know, I feel like it's really just a good laid back groovy song, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
I think like how music in the movie,
Yeah.
it's a musical movie,
Of course.
and So I think like the most like key aspect of the movie is how whenever a song is played, the chronology disrupts. Don't you think?
Yeah,
so?
I've seen that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chronology of time, right?
Uh-huh.
Of course, yeah. You know, this reminds me. This is also another element of Dabrowski's convention of autofiction.
Uh-huh.
Basically, it says that there's an experimental reconfiguration of narrative time that may depart from chronology to purely factual. So, obviously, again, it's too dense, and just to like simplify it, it's basically saying how there's a disruption of chronology and like linear storytelling, you know?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. The film doesn't follow a linear structure.
For sure, yeah.
And that's the key to autofictional nature. I mean, for example, take the very beginning of the movie. As the kid is getting dressed for his performance at First Avenue, we see a parallel scene of Morris Day and Apollonia preparing for the night too.
Definitely,
The music playing in the background is Let's Go Crazy.
yeah.
Ties these moments together, creating a sense of simultaneous action. It's not just showing what each character is doing, it's about showing how their lives are interconnected, even if they are not in the same physical space.
Yeah, and I feel like that's where the music becomes almost like a soundtrack. It's just like, it's more than actually a soundtrack. It's like a narrative device, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like the energetic tone of like Let's Go Crazy also like contrasts with the tension building in each character's storyline. Like the kid is agonizing, you know, Morris is scheming to get kid out of the taste, and Apollonia is just nervous, you know, like trying to talk to the kid. But I feel like Let's Go Crazy just like unites all of these fragmented moments, you know, like creating a sense of anticipation from the audience and the viewers.
Exactly, and you know in the movie, the moment where the kid breaks up with Apollonia,
Yeah.
the song When Doves Cry plays. I mean, it's here that the disruption of chronology becomes more visible.
For sure.
As the song begins, we see flashes of the kid's troubled home life, his abusive father, his mother's helplessness, interconnect with the present emotional chaos or turmoil being here. This chaotic nature of the song reflects the kid's inner conflict.
And I feel like that's such like a powerful moment of the film. And again, like it just reiterates the fact how like music isn't just like a stylistic choice. It's almost like a way to portray the kid's like past and how he's like constantly struggling and like how he's trying to fight through all his problems.
Yeah.
And the music also serves as like a bridge between these timelines, you know, connecting everything.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the movie, you see a climatic scene that when kid's father is hospitalized after a suicide attempt.
That's Purple Rain I was mentioning before.
Yeah. The kid tries to place his life back together.
Yeah.
I mean, he performs Purple Rain at the taste, which becomes a turning point not for the narrative but for himself,
course,
as
yeah.
it changes kid's emotional journey.
Definitely, yeah. And again, you see like disruption of chronology here, as like when kid is singing, the film that keeps cutting between his performance, it like goes back to flashes of his dad in the hospital, and then back to like flashes between him and Apollonia in the taste. And I feel like again the music just ties all these broken moments together. It's like the fragmented nature, you know, and how like music pieces together disruption of chronology.
That's what makes Purple Rain a pretty solid example of autofiction.
For sure,
I mean,
yeah.
the disruption of chronology isn't just showing the kid's past, it's also showing how a past reshapes kid's future or present, and he's trying to patch the two to create a new life.
Yeah.
The music serves as a symbol of disruption, guiding the audience through the fragmented narrative while also deepening the emotional impact.
Of course, yeah. And yeah, I mean, this is another one of like the key elements in autofiction. It's like just the disruption of like traditional storytelling, and I feel like it's so important. And like we obviously consistently see this indicated through music, and there's obviously like frequent shifts between like past and present and flashbacks or parallel timelines. Like it's just like connects together all the simultaneous timelines and experiences of all the characters in the movie.
Yeah, that what makes Purple Rain so unique. The music isn't just a part of the story, it's the story.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a part. It's the story. It signals the shift in time. It binds the fragmented moments together, and ultimately expresses the kid's journey in a way that world alone can never combine.
Of course, yeah. And it just like allows us to experience the kids' memories, emotions, and struggles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I find Autofiction so cool.
Uh-huh.
You know, so far we covered onomastic gleanings, we covered real events, and how music serves as a disruption of chronology.
Yeah.
I just find it so cool how Purple Rain is a good example of all these autofictional conventions, right?
Yeah.
And you know, Purple Rain isn't just a movie; it's a great depiction of autofiction, like we kept reiterating.
And yeah, Prince used the kid to tell his own story in a universal way.
Yeah, like everyone can relate to it. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
of course. Like
everyone-
especially the aspiring musical artists. Yeah.
Exactly. It's not just about how he rose to his fame, it's about the struggles of every actor's identity, ambition, and relationships.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think this movie does a really good job, like blending truth and fiction in a way that feels raw and real to the audience and viewers.
It's a perfect combination and it creates a brilliant artistic viewpoint, which is why Purple Rain still resonates with people even decades later.
For sure, yeah.
It's been a long day, isn't it, Santhosh?
Yeah, man, I'm tired, but damn, was reviewing Purple Rain really fun.
Well, that's it for today's episode. Thanks for joining us as we explored Purple Rain and the art of autofiction.
Well, we really hope this gave you a new perspective on the film and it encourages you to go watch the film yourself. Till then, first time.